Every time a U.S. military person fires his or her weapon, they are taking a gamble that they can end up in Leavenworth.
Take a case like first.
All right, so that's a clip from a new docu-series following a controversial true story playing out in the military justice system right now. The series is called Leavenworth and will debut on the Starz channel this Sunday. It follows the story of a young man, Clint Lawrence, a former lieutenant in Afghanistan who is now serving a 19-year sentence for ordering fire and in turn killing 2 men. He now is in the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth and is currently trying to overturn that conviction. Joining me this morning to tell us more about this is executive producer and director Paul Pawlowski, Don Brown, a former JAG officer who is also on Clint's legal team, and platoon soldier Mike McGinnis. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Carly.
Morning, Carly.
This is a lot to get into this morning, but my first question, I had not heard of this story before, which, Paul, I'm assuming this is why we're doing the documentary on it. This is why you wanted to get the story out.
Yeah, it is a compelling story to say the least, and one that it's important to tell, not just for the individuals involved, but I think there's resonance behind the story that applies on a national basis, and it just brings up a lot of points that I think people don't know about the military criminal justice system, but also I guess things that they don't know about the war in Afghanistan and how the soldiers are required to conduct themselves. So the story itself was a vehicle to tell a lot of important things and inform the public about things that they may not know of otherwise.
Well, and Don, that is interesting because maybe describe a little bit what the military legal system is like. How different is it from the traditional legal system that maybe, we're used to hearing more about?
The military legal system should work very similarly to our civilian system in that the Constitution rules. And part of the problem with this case is that the Constitution got thrown in the Hudson River, as I've been saying here in New York. Clint's platoon was on a morning patrol July 2nd, 2012, when, of course, a motorcycle approaches the top of the platoon at a fast rate of speed. Motorcycles have been used to kill Americans. So Clint ordered his men to open fire. Now, that order has been subject to debate. Some folks say he shouldn't have done it. I say he should have done it. However, after the court-martial, the government tried to portray this as killing innocent civilians. But we've learned through biometrics that these guys on the motorcycles were in fact Taliban bomb makers. And that evidence, Carly, was kept away from the military jury. And so Clint's constitutional rights got thrown into the trash can. And whether you believe he made a proper call like I do, or whether you don't think he made a proper call like our friend Mike McGinnis, at the end of the day, as military officers and as members of the U.S. military, we take an oath to defend the Constitution. And if this young paratrooper's constitutional rights cannot be protected, then everything that we stand for in Afghanistan everywhere is just worthless. He has a right to his day in court. That jury has a right to know that these guys were the enemy. The guys killed have tried to kill Americans at the end of the day, and Clint should not be in Leavenworth because he should be released, and we're calling on President Trump to give him relief even today, Carly.
So, Mike, what is your connection to all of this?
Well, I was the weapons squad leader in the platoon during the patrol, and I was out there on the ground that day in charge of the heavy machine gun, the machine gun component of the platoon. The lieutenant and I had certain issues with how we planned, and he was only with us a short time, but we were still working out the kinks of how we were going to work well together before everything happened.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking some time with us this morning. Again, this is going to debut this weekend on the Starz Network. And again, there's a lot to kind of look into this. And we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you, Carly.